ahead and create our own cheat sheet. So we know we have our IP address in a dotted decimal notation. We have 192.168.100.1. We have the first octet, the second octet, the third, and the fourth octet. Each octet has 8 bits. And we have 4 octets, that gives us 32 bits. 8 bits correspond to a byte, so this gives us 4 bytes. So now let's go ahead and create our own cheat sheet. We draw our 8 columns. Now this is a key part. We write from left to right, but this we're going from right to left. We write from left to right, but here we're going from right to left. So we have our 8 different columns. We start at 1 and we double our numbers. So we go 1 times 2, that gives us 2, times 2, that gives us 8, times 2, that gives us 16, times 2, that gives us 32, times 2, 64, and times 2, 128. Now we know for our IPv4 addresses, in each octet, we can write a number between 0 and 255. So if you're counting all those numbers, that gives you 256 numbers in total. So you have 255 plus 0, that gives you 256. So you're counting the number of digits you have. So from 0 all the way to 255, that gives you 256. So that's why we have 256 here. This becomes our magic number. Now taking our magic number 256 and subtracting these numbers from 256, and we put the corresponding answer in our row B here. So for the first column, which is column 8, if we do 256 minus 1, that gives us 255. We go to the next 256 minus 2, that gives us 254. And we'll do that all the way to column 1. For this one, we do 256 minus 8. We have 256 minus 8. That gives us 248. We'll do the next 256 minus 16. And we'll keep going all the way. 256 minus 32, 256 minus 64, 256 minus 128. So now we'll go to the next row, which is our row C. We know we have 32 bits, so we'll begin with a /32 on that column 8. So we'll go from /32 and we'll go down. And once you hit column 1, you go back below that and you keep going until you get to /1. So we'll have a /32. /32, go /31, a /30, /29, /28, /27, /26, and we have a /25. Okay, so we have all the way to /25. Now we have to go back to this column 8, and we go from a /24 until we get to this point, and we'll keep going until we get to a /1. Explaining the slashes, so these are called prefixes. So you have an IP address as we had it in 192.168.100.1, and you might see you have a /30, you have a /28, you have a /24. Now, these are prefixes which they use to determine how many IP addresses are available or how many IP addresses they need or they would like to use for a particular network. So we have 32 bits. This corresponds to those 32 bits. And that is used to determine how many IP addresses you want. So this is where you have your different octets. This very first row, so row A, corresponds to your group size. Row B, this is your subnet mask. All of these other rows correspond to your CIDR. This first row corresponds to octet or the fourth octet. In this one, the third. This the second, and this the first. So this corresponds to your fourth octet. Whenever you write your IP address, this corresponds to the third, this corresponds to the second, and this corresponds to your first. So let's say you have an IP address of this sort. Let's say 192.168.100.1. This is your fourth octet. This is your third octet. This is your second octet, and this is your first octet. So whenever you have a slash, that tells you in which octet you're dealing with. So let's say we had this IP address and we had a slash, let's say a /20. So we'll have an IP like this and a /20. This is /20 right here. That we know we're dealing with the third octet. So when we're dealing with this IP, we know we're dealing with this 100. That is our area of focus or our area of interest with regards to subnetting.